Hello, it's nice to meet you. My name is Matt and I am an embedded software engineer, which basically means I write software for small devices or devices that are not full-on computers. I recently had the idea of creating a C++ course for beginners, so for people who have never seen code before and want to know how computers work by writing some C++ code. So this course will entail a lot of the fundamentals that you need in order to program, not just in C++, but in any other language out there. So things like how memory is laid out, how you can access memory in your computer, and how the program deals with that memory, and etc. So I would like to begin by talking a little bit about myself in the first place. So I studied computer science at university. I graduated with a master's degree in it in 2018. Since then, I have been writing C++ code to develop programs for desktops. And more recently, I have been writing software for cars in the embedded world. Well, prior to that, I had used a few different languages as well, such as Python, PHP back in the day when I first got started, and so on. So what I want to sort of show you guys in this course is the fundamentals, the absolute fundamentals that you need in order to pick up any programming language out there, and for you guys to understand fundamentally how a computer program works. Okay, so now that we got the introduction out of the way, let's start talking about the main topic of this video, which is setting up your environment so you have all the tools necessary to complete this course. Yeah. So the first thing I'm going to ask you guys to download is something called an IDE. Now, IDE stands for Integrated Development Environment, and is basically a program that contains all the tools that you need to write code and generate your program out of your code. Yeah. So if you're on Windows, I would highly recommend using Visual Studio 2019 because it comes with all the C++ compilers that we need. It comes with a really good editor and code completion tools as well. Now, Visual Studio 2019 is free. The community edition is completely free, so you can just go to the website and download it if you're on Windows. So make sure you do that and you install it. Now, if you're not on Windows, if you're on Linux or on a macOS machine, I could recommend an IDE called CLion, which is something I use on a daily basis for work on my Linux machine. And it is in the same way like Visual Studio, it includes all the tools that you need for writing your code and debugging it and generating programs out of it. But unfortunately, it's not free for general use. It is free for students, so if you have a student email with your university or school, you can get a free license out of it. But if you're not a student like myself, I think I'm paying currently something like £8 a month, which is about $9-10, I believe, a month for the license. But it is worth having if you have no other option. So make sure you install this as well if you can. There is a 30-day trial here, so you can try it out before buying a license if you want. Okay. Now, the main thing that these IDEs will include is generally they will include a C++ compiler. So a C++ compiler is a program that reads your source code. So something that you've got here on the left. So this is C++ source code, and that compiler is going to then generate instructions for your CPU, for your machine to read. Because unlike what many people think, C++ code or just programming in general isn't something that the CPU can understand. There's a step in the middle which is actually generating the instructions, and that's what the compiler will do. It will generate here what's on the right, and this on the right here is what your computer actually understands and can execute. Yeah, so this is what a compiler does, and you should get that for free with Visual Studio. However, I think CLion, if you don't have a compiler installed on your machine already, you have to install it manually. Okay. By the way, I do have an article about how to install something called CMake on my website. I'm going to be linking it on the description. And there is a subsection here about how you can install a compiler on your machine if you're on Linux, if you're interested. So make sure you check the link out. Okay. Now, the final tool that you're going to need is CMake, and CMake is a build system generator. And what that basically means is that you can tell the computer, you can tell your IDEs, in fact, how your project is structured. So you will tell the IDEs where your source files are located, what programs you're generating out of them, and what libraries you're using, and etc. Okay, I do have an article on my website. Again, I'm going to link it on the description. It explains in a simple manner everything about CMake. So everything that you need to know for now about CMake. Okay, so now if you went for the CLion option, so if you installed CLion on your Linux machine or macOS, or even on Windows, because it has support for Windows as well, that comes automatically free for you. You don't have to install anything else. Okay, that it comes with CMake. However, if you went for the Visual Studio installation and you selected the basic C++ desktop development option on the installation page, then there is something extra you need to do. And that something extra is actually installing CMake support for Visual Studio, which is not too hard. All you got to do is go on your taskbar, look for Visual Studio installer. As you can see here, this program here. You should have it installed already if you installed Visual Studio 2019. And this is basically where you manage all the add-ons for Visual Studio. Yeah. So to do that, you can click on Modify on the Visual Studio option there. And you're going to go on Individual Components. To install the CMake support, you're going to look for C++ CMake support, I believe, or something like that. There you go, C++ CMake tools for Windows. You're going to check this box here, and there will be a button called Install. You're going to click on that and just wait for the installation to be done, and you're good to go. Okay. In my case, I've already got that installed, so obviously it's not here. And that's it for this video. Now, if you've followed everything that I've mentioned here, you should have all the tools that you need to follow the course. Okay, and I'm going to leave it here. In the next video, I plan to be teaching you guys how to write the simplest C++ program with the simplest CMake, and get your IDE to compile that and run the program for you. Okay, so if you've got any comments, if you've got any feedback, please feel free to comment on the video. I will make sure that I reply to every single one of the questions I get, at least at the start of this course. Thanks for watching, and bye-bye.